No person may claim or exercise state authority except as authorized under the Constitution.
The Attorney General says don't dare, but NASA insists Raila swearing in will happen.
Tangu tarehe 8 mwezi wa 8 mpaka leo watu 215 wameuawa na serikali.
Your bullets killed our supporters. Now pay their families, Raila says. And home at last. 4 Kenyans freed from South Sudan jail received in Nairobi.
A very good evening to you. Trust you're keeping well, and many thanks for joining us on tonight's edition of KTN Prime. My name is Sharon Momanya. Our sign language interpreter is Meresha Owiti. Now, the Kenyan Attorney General, Professor Githu Muigai, has warned that the planned swearing-in of NASA leader Raila Odinga next Tuesday would amount to high treason punishable by death. Professor Githu Muigai says any attempt to swear in Raila as president is unlawful, illegal, null and void. He also warned that counties that have passed the People's Assembly motion have committed an illegality and risk being surcharged for misusing funds allocated to the counties. But as written in our reports, NASA is planning to go right ahead with what they call the swearing-in of the people's president.
Uhuru Kenyatta.
10 days ago, President Uhuru Kenyatta was sworn in for a second and final term. And the opposition coalition, NASA, has been planning a similar ceremony set for Tuesday next week. But now the government's chief legal advisor, Attorney General Professor Githu Muigai, is warning against the NASA plan.
A swearing-in of any person not lawfully declared to have won an election by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, and a swearing-in that is not conducted by the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya is a process wholly unanticipated by the Constitution and is null and void and illegal ab initio.
The Attorney General says the law expressly provides penalties for such a move.
The criminal law of the Republic of Kenya in Article 40 of the Penal Code provides or stipulates that that sort of process is high treason. It is high treason in respect of the person so involved and any other person facilitating that process. What is the punishment for high treason? It is death.
NASA has been pushing for the establishment of the People's Assembly. 12 counties, among them Kisumu, Makueni, Migori, Kilifi, Kakamega, Busia, Machakos and Homa Bay, have debated and passed the People's Assembly motion. And that too, the Attorney General says is unconstitutional, illegal, null and void.
The so-called People's Assemblies are institutions totally unknown to the Constitution of Kenya and totally unknown to the County Governments Act. They have purportedly been established in violation of the Constitution and the law.
Professor Githu Muigai argues counties which have passed the People's Assembly motion have violated the Public Finance Management Act by using funds set aside for the counties.
These monies can be surcharged to those persons who have been involved in that process. Not to mention that the government retains the right to review county expenditure where the counties have misappropriated. And this, there can be no other word to describe it, is a misappropriation of legitimate monies.
Despite the warning by the Attorney General, NASA is vowing to go ahead with its plan, with the defiant coalition on Friday set to outline a series of activities ahead of the planned swearing-in on Tuesday, a day on which the nation will be marking Jamhuri Day. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
And the NASA team, led by lawyer and Senator James Orengo, has dismissed the Attorney General's warning, saying nothing in what they are planning to do is treason. Orengo spoke exclusively to KTN News senior political affairs reporter Duncan Khaemba just a few minutes ago in Westlands, Nairobi.
I haven't heard him word for word. In fact, I didn't watch on telly what he said. But I've gathered what he has said in the social media. Unfortunately, the Attorney General as the head of the bar, I mean, traditionally is the head of the bar. When he's making pronouncements, he should make statements which have got the imprint of the law of the land or the Constitution. But when he makes statements that makes him look like a propagandist for the ruling party, so to speak, then one begins to lose faith in that office. He is supposed not just to be talking on behalf of the government of the day, but is also is expected to talk on behalf of the country, because on matters legal, is not the chief legal officer just for the government, but it's the highest law office in the land in the constitutional dispensation that we have. But let me say this. Treason is not an easy offense to prove. First of all, the law of treason as it exists in Kenya today is an exemplification of the law of treason as it was when England was an absolute monarchy. And you remember Njonjo used to make those statements that, you know, if you embrace or conceive or imagine the death of a president, then you'll be triable for treason. It is not as easy as that. In fact, you cannot remember, if I ask you the question, when was the last civilian tried and convicted for the offense of treason? So as far as I'm concerned, you know, that is a long shot. He is using threats, and I think he is living at a different type. Kenya is still is not a colony anymore. And therefore, what I want to say is this. What is being planned and what we are talking about has nothing to do with anything which is going to happen outside the Constitution and the law of the land. And we are advising, we are giving that advice, and we are planning within the realms of the constitutional case.
Senior counsel, the Attorney General cites that any person who can be sworn in as president must have been declared by IEBC and must be sworn in as the Chief Justice. And that's why he said that anything against that means it goes against the Constitution, and therefore the person who takes the oath or who facilitates the same would be actionable under Section 40 of the Penal Code.
It will still not constitute treason unless I need to go back to the law school. But between me and the Attorney General on this point, he is the one who needs to go back to the law school. And taking an oath in itself is not enough. Probably one can imagine that one is taking an unlawful oath. But what is an unlawful oath also must be prescribed by the Constitution or the law. So I think this is just a conduct of an officer who is trying to issue threats and intimidate and blackmail. And that is not going to work out. It will not happen.
All right, so that pronouncement by the Attorney General forms the basis of our big question tonight, and we're asking you, do you think all Kenyans will accept the Attorney General's warning as an objective legal opinion? Do you think all Kenyans will accept the Attorney General's warning as an objective legal opinion? Do share with me your thoughts by tweeting me at Sharon_Momanyi or at KTN News and at KTN Kenya. I will be sampling your views as we continue with this bulletin. Right, and NASA leader Raila Odinga is now asking the government to compensate families that lost their loved ones through what has been termed as police brutality. Raila, who has criticized the international community for not questioning the government over the deaths that have been witnessed since August 8th general elections, was speaking when he led a section of NASA brigade in mourning with families.
Emotional scenes at Nairobi's city mortuary. NASA leader Raila Odinga leading a mourning session that saw bereaved families collect from the mortuary bodies of the loved ones who died during his return from the US last month. Others of victims of mysterious deaths witnessed in Kariobangi, Ruaraka area, where several people lost their lives in what some believed were tribal clashes.
Kwa niaba ya viongozi wote ambayo wamefika hapa wa NASA, tunasema poleni. Poleni sana sana kwa kupoteza wapendwa wenu.
One family after the other, each received 50,000 shillings on top of the money for burial expenses that have been catered for by NASA. The parents of the late 7-year-old Jeffrey Mutinda, who was killed by a stray bullet while playing outside the balcony last week, could not hold the pain of losing their son.
Tunachotaka ni kweli ni kwamba tunataka tu justice ikuwe na mtoto atafutiwa haki yake, sababu si vizuri na tuna machungu mingi, lakini yote tunaachia Mungu sababu hatuna vile tunasarudisha. We cannot reverse it.
Kuzaliwa mwaka ile ambayo tulipata katiba mpya, amepoteza maisha akiwa ako kwa nyumba, amepigwa risasi ambayo imemuua ni risasi ya serikali.
Tumehakikisha postmortem zote ambao walikuwa wanaandika vibaya zimefanywa vizuri, na tumerudia postmortems nyingi sana, ili saa ile tunataka kutafuta haki yenu tutapata hiyo haki.
The NASA chief criticizing the national government for keeping mum over the killings that he said have claimed the lives of 215 people since the August 8th general elections. The police, who are yet to give the exact number of people killed, have maintained their ground that a majority of people who have lost their lives have been as a result of mob justice.
Lazima serikali ijitokeze na iseme itatoa ridhaa, compensation. Tuna vile huzuni kuona kwamba hata mataifa ambayo wanajisema ni marafiki ya Kenya, hakuna hata moja yao ambaye ameongea tangu yale yafanyike mpaka leo kulaani upotevu ya maisha ya Wakenya.
Raila bashing the international community that has since called on him to stop his swearing in on 12th December next week, saying that it is against the constitution.
And we will not be intimidated. The Kenyan problems will be resolved by Kenyan people. Our friends can give us advice. Give those advice in private. Don't come and shout at us and tell us that we are going to violate constitution. Which constitution may put?
Last week, Nairobi woman representative Esther Passaris led a section of NASA leaders in a similar function where 7 families collected from the mortuary bodies of their loved ones.
And as these families travel to bury their loved ones, what they're asking for is justice, because they say the little amount of money they've been given to cater for burial arrangements cannot wipe their tears. Cecilia Kesho, KTN News from City Mortuary in Nairobi.
Right, and the government has featured individuals who stood out in the year as volunteers in charity in their communities as the country joined the world in marking the International Volunteers Day.
The prestigious Volunteers Award was held in Nairobi to recognize individuals and organizations playing a role in volunteering and offering a helping hand to the society in a colorful dinner gala presided over by Labour Cabinet Secretary Phyllis Kandie and Standard Group Acting CEO Orlando Lyomu.
We want to start planning for the next one so that we have it in a bigger way and to make sure that we reach many more volunteers wherever they are. And as a Standard Media Group, I can promise you one thing. We shall continue playing in this space because what we have is the ability to reach the masses, what we have is the ability to talk to the masses, and what we have is the ability to change this country for the better.
Joy Wangathi, 22, founder of a digital initiative that offers digital literacy skills for youth in rural areas, emerged this year's winner. Veteran industrialist Manu Chandaria was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award for his consistent charitable initiatives in Kenya, spanning more than 25 years.
Create that feeling by getting together, talking together, being with each other, and trying to see how we can hold hands. And that's why the volunteerism is there.
Labour Cabinet Secretary Phyllis Kandie appealed to all counties to come up with a volunteering policy to promote volunteerism and to help in coordination of such initiatives at the grassroots levels.
Let's start, appreciating those who we have recognized this year. And I want to believe that next year we will even have more participants, not only, those who volunteered, but I think I want to encourage the private sector to participate even more.
Willie Rusige, KTN News.